Welcome to BNow. My name is Don McLeod.
And I am Fazal Khan. Welcome to the BramptonNOW program. How's it going, Don?
The first one, yeah. It seems like a long time. We should be playing the theme song for Welcome Back, Kotter. It's been how many months since we've been doing this? 6-8 months?
Well, I think we started a show called The City last year this time. So, and then we ran that for about 6 episodes. It's a lot of work doing these things.
Yeah.
And to be successful, you really have to do it every week. And so this is our stake in the ground. We're going to be doing this every week, right?
Every Tuesday, 6:30 to 7 o'clock. Today we're doing it at 6:30. We might set it up for 7, but we'll let you know. It's the first one. And we'll be doing it every week, every Tuesday at the same time, once we get it all nailed down, except for the last Tuesday of every month, which is slated for Mayor Patrick Brown. And Michael Charbon will be doing the interview with Mayor Patrick Brown on that one. We haven't been doing this for quite a while, been wrapped up with a whole bunch of different things over the summer. We had how many students, Faz?
We had about 30 students,
30 students
over the course of 16 weeks during the summer. So we had university and high school students, and we're hoping to do that again in the summer. So if you are a young person, please feel free to reach out to us and get yourself lined up for next summer.
Yeah, and you also had We Got the Shot campaign. That took quite a bit of time, so we're sort of concentrated on that. That sort of took us off the air for quite a while, but we're back on now, and basically we're talking about Brampton. We're going to be covering what's going on in Brampton. Again, the Toronto media basically doesn't really cover Brampton unless there's a stabbing or shooting, car chase, gangs, guns, all that kind of good stuff. So we've segregated it up. Faz, why don't you go through what we're going to do?
Well, let's backtrack. So first, let me. I'm also producing the show today, so I apologize because I'm probably not looking at the camera too much.
No, you're looking at it every once in a while.
So let's add this to the stream. Here we go. So we've started a new service called BramptonNOW, or BNow.ca. So if you go to the website, this is what you're going to see: a sign-up form. So please do go there. All we're asking for is your first name, your email, mobile, and postal code, just so that we kind of can locate you in the city, so that when we do start populating our events calendar, and if you want to be notified, we can just let you know what's going on in your area. And also, there's a lot of ways to categorize information so that it's you don't have to see everything. We want to maintain the site to be clean as it is now, so that it looks great on mobile as well. And so we don't want to clutter it with junk. And so if you are an event organizer, or if you just want to know what's going on in the city, please register. And over time, between now and the beginning of the year, we're going to have a lot of features that we're adding there. If you're an event organizer, you'll be able to add your own events. And we're going to make it look really good, easy to share. Because in a lot of cases, Don, as you know, people spend a lot of time on these events, and they spend very little time on promoting it. And we want to reverse that, right? Because it's just terrible when we go out to events to cover it. And we could clearly see there's a lot more effort gone into planning than in getting people out to the event.
Yeah, and there's a lot of options basically we're going to be doing in the new year. So that's coming up in regards to businesses, events, and so on and so forth. So there's a whole bunch of different added features that we're going to be adding to it. But right now, the main topic is we're going to be separating up what's going on in Brampton and what's trending in Brampton, and what you want to hear or see, or any kind of topics or comments. There's my email in the bottom underneath my name, so you can actually send me an email, tell me what you want to talk about and cover, and we'll go through it, take a look at it. If we think it's worth covering, or if it's trending at that point in time, absolutely no problem. We'll take care of it. So let's jump into it right now, Faz.
Well, first, Don, I'm always excited because we didn't promote this, right? We just
not really.
So we already have some comments from some of our city regulars. So Ivan is saying hi. Hello, Ivan.
Mr. Ivan. We know Mr. Ivan. Yeah, he's out there on a regular basis. He's doing a lot of things.
Michael Jovi.
Michael Jovi, yeah.
Michael, you're going to have to let us know, because Don calls you, what do you say? How do you say his last name?
Michael Jovi.
And I say Jovi. So, Michael, you're going to have to clarify for us.
It's like Bon Jovi, but Michael Jovi.
Okay, whatever. Karen, thanks, Karen, for being Karen's always one of the first to jump into whatever.
Well, she would, because she's married to Mike and she wants to get away from Mike. So, that's an opportunity for her to tune into us and have some real intelligent conversation.
Okay. And thanks, Ivan. He's sharing this to his downtown Brampton community group, which is great.
Perfect.
And Ivan is, he inspires that a lot too, because I don't know how many groups he started and how many times he's invited me to different groups, but the big one he did over the pandemic was the fast food one or the food one. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that hopefully we can provide with Ivan for sharing his.
Well,
events.
we'll be one of our things is promoting events and all that kind of stuff going on, events and things through the city. So people, whether you're a for-profit or a non-for-profit, there's an opportunity, to send us an email, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and so on and so forth. I know Ivan is doing something in December in regards to Toy Mountain, so probably next week we'll give a shout out to Ivan on what he's doing on that regard.
So we don't need to see Michael's comments here because
what is he slagging me already?
I think he's saying you're right in how you say his name. And,
all right.
Okay. So last comment from Ivan. What is he saying here? Are you going to do some coverage for? Well, we just did that. Yeah. So, so here's the deal though. We get a lot of requests to come out and cover events with video. And we've done it for the last, since we started in
6 years, almost 7 years.
It's a lot of work. We don't get paid to do that time, and we're busy with all sorts of things. So for people out in the community, if you're actively doing stuff and engaging with us and sharing our stuff, which Ivan does, we will come out and cover it, no problem. For other people that ask us, we're going to have to say no, or we're going to have to show you our price sheet. So, if especially if you're doing it not as a nonprofit, if you're trying to make money out of it, obviously.
And the thing is, going forward, I mean, we're operating as a nonprofit. We have for 7 years. I mean, our funding and everything else came through all sorts of different things that we do and we work on. So if you're a nonprofit organization, yeah, I understand, but you also got media budgets too, right? So anyway, going forward, those are some of the options that we're going to have on our website that you can take a look at. So going forward, there's going to be all sorts of things. We'll probably have about 5 shows this year before we get into New Year and 2022, and then we're going to cover a whole bunch of different things. So let's get right into it.
So we are already over time. We have 20 minutes. That's our goal for these shows, is 20 minutes with a few segments. So we're already 2 minutes over our first segments. We have to shorten. So the next segment I'm calling Brampton Boondoggle or Not.
Okay.
And Donna, next week, I'm going to have sound effects with these titles. Okay.
All right. So we're going to cover the first one up, which is pretty current, is the cricket stadium. Went to council. They want to fund a $35 million cricket stadium. It went originally as a cricket stadium, and some of the councilors asked about, can it be multi-use and so on and so forth. From my understanding, is a cricket stadium going to cost $35 million, $5 million for the development, $30 million for the stadium itself. It can hold from 5,000 people and up to 20. My thing is, I don't mind a cricket stadium at all. I think that it's a good idea for the city. I'm not too crazy about the location out by the, what is it now? The CAA Center. It used to be the Powerade Center.
Have they decided on that? I'm not.
I don't know if they decided on it, but that was one of the first things that they said. They wanted to put it out there. Like, we've had a basketball team that died out there. We've had an OHL team that died out there. There's an ECHL team that died out there after they took $1.5 million from taxpayers. It's a location that, number one, is not good, right? And we know that. It's terrible. Yeah,
it's not the greatest location because obviously highway access, but I'm not sure that's the reason why those other teams fill, right? Hockey, unless you're an NHL or an OHL team, like you're competing with all sorts of other hockey clubs. Cricket, there's no real competition in terms of having a nice stadium that people can go on.
No, but I mean, location is everything, right? There's location. I mean, there's certain locations that, I think it would be better. I mean, you got Chinguacousy Park, you got Sandalwood, you've got up around your financial area where you are. I mean, there's.
No, I want a recreation center in my area, Don.
You don't get that. You get a
I have to go
stadium.
to Ridgewood, I think, in Mississauga if I want to go to a recreation center, because that's.
Or there's 910, right? I mean, to put it down to an area like that where there's one road in and out. I know that they had the cricket thing over, last year, and they had a lot of people, but that's a one event thing. What you're trying to do is you build a $35 million stadium expecting it to be filled all the time on that location. I don't think it's viable. I think council needs to take a hard look at where it's going to be put. And here's another option. Instead of $35 million spending right off the bat to build a stadium that goes to 5,000 to 20,000, why don't you build just a smaller stadium that could be expanded later on at a lower cost.
Well, I
Start
think
out,
at that $35 million level, that's probably what you're going to get. Like 35 million is not, you can't even build a community center these days with 35 million. So you're probably going to get a bare bones first phase, just like Peel Memorial Hospital, right? And then at some
well, we'll
point,
get into that one later, but
yeah, you might be able to expand it. But to me, it's a lot of money, but we spend that kind of money on lots of things in
no,
this city.
I don't disagree, but at the same time, it's, like, is there enough cricket, involved to be able to do that, like that full amount? I mean, couldn't you build one for $20 million and expand it later?
I have no idea, Don.
I mean, Michael Jovi's talking about the Canadian Tire distribution site. Well, I think they're calling that Emerald Hills. They want to build, there's an MZO that Patrick Brown put forward to say that they want high-rise buildings or apartment buildings to go by at that location, right next to the GO station. I think that's what they have planned for that location of the Canadian Tire plant.
Karen thinks they need more stuff in East Brampton. Karen has not been in West Brampton. I am looking for a community center or a real library. We got a little plaza library. Sorry, Karen.
I think that I don't know, Darshan, if they have during the cold months. There was talk of having it covered, but as you know, cricket is not like an all the time thing. It's like having a hockey rink. You could have it, but a lot of the rinks are not operating during the summertime anyway, right?
Well, how many months would you be off, right? Because you could probably play cricket or at least start using the facilities in early April and go into, probably November, right?
Well,
so I don't know
maybe 8 months of the year, right?
Yeah. But anyways, in terms of also drawing international, I'm not going to say tourism, but traffic, right? Or North American, we could make a stake here. We're not really known for anything outside of our own borders. Now this could be something, right?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you because no one's taken up that torch. So it's possible that you take up that torch and you actually drive that, put a stake in the ground and say, this is what we want to do, and have a plan going forward. At this point in time, it's like pie in the sky. They haven't.
But you know what? When the mayor was running for election, I think this was in his platform, right? So when people criticize him now for wanting to propose a cricket stadium, this is what he ran on. And I thought he was nuts then, but then the first year when they had that tournament with, that was, I don't know how many hundreds of million people saw that worldwide, and the temporary stadium, I was sold. It's like, wow, I could not believe that was done. So
here's the thing, though. You got to sell it to the rest of the population, and by doing that, you have to have rendering drawings. You have to have a whole plan of what you're going to be doing, how many months, like Darshan asked, how many months is going to be viable, is it covered or not, is it multi-use?
You got to answer all those questions.
Absolutely, 100%. So that's still on the books.
And I think you can also get federal and provincial funding too, right?
We have 5 federal MPs now, all with the same Liberal Party again. So that's something that possibly going forward they could do.
And we also have the Minister of Seniors, and I know there's a lot of seniors who would love to watch cricket.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not a big cricket fan, but everybody each to his own, right? I'm not a big soccer fan either, but
Okay,
whatever.
Next topic, Don. We're running out of
time. All right,
time.
let's go. Peel Memorial.
Hospital funding. Go for it.
Yeah, this is a beauty, this one. So what was it? Three months ago, the province said that they were going to fund a new hospital in Brampton, and everybody in Brampton said, wait a second, this is not a new hospital. It's an add-on to the existing Peel Memorial, plain and simple. It's not a new hospital. We have basically a glorified walk-in clinic at the Peel Memorial, has been for quite a while. We had a levy, I think it was 2012, and then it gathered up $60 million, used $40 million. We still have $20 million in the pot for the phase 2 that never happened. So the phase 2 is, I guess, this phase, which is going to have 250 hospital beds. Some of the councillors are saying, wait a second, what happened to 800 beds? Well, when the announcement was made for 250 beds, every councillor and the mayor were touting it as the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I don't know where the 800 came from, but the city levy is something that they're talking about now, $125 million over 7 years, starting in 2022. That is something that, is not unusual for municipalities. The first people who are around here in Brampton know that there was a levy instituted for the Brampton Civic. We know that.
You know, Don, I think I did the math. You posted something on Facebook, and I did the math. I think it's like the cost per resident, upper family per resident, is about a coffee a month for however many years we're going to have that levy. It's
7
really
years.
not that much money, and that's assuming we don't use the money that's already been collected.
Yeah, I mean, William Osler, I mean, they presented, what was it, a couple of weeks ago at the council about what they had in mind. I mean, the only thing, one of the councilors said, well, I went into council and I didn't know what was going to be presented only hours before. Well, the thing is, councilor, the city has to post all the delegations and all the information on the Friday before it represents whether it can be a committee of council or council meeting on the Wednesday. All that information was there on a Friday night. I actually accessed it on a Monday, and I saw what William Osler was going to be presenting. I read through the whole thing. They were talking about the 24/7 emergency was not going to be available until this date and everything. All that information. So I kind of called bull on that one from the councilor, saying he didn't know an hour before. Maybe he should go to the city website and actually look before the council meeting like anybody else can.
Right. Sorry, now my phone keeps ringing.
Your phone?
I think this looks like a City of Brampton call. Is there some kind of webinar going on now? It could be.
Don't ask me.
We're competing with a city event.
Well, you know what the thing is too. I mean, where's the third hospital going? Where's City Council advocating for where the third hospital is going? Do you know where? Did they pick a spot?
I'm going to put a comment from Mario. Don, it has nothing to do with the hospital. It has to do with cricket. I think he's saying you don't like running. You don't like, you know what, Mario? I know he likes football. Or at least he likes watching football. I hate
running. Put it this way, Mario. I spent 9 years in the Canadian Armed Forces, and I ran almost everywhere. My knees are shot. So, yeah, I did a lot of running. I played football. I played hockey up to junior level.
Okay, we get it done. We get it.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Highway 413.
Oh, yeah, 413. Well, this one's going to be interesting because it's going to cost $6 billion, they say, when and I know.
Come on, Don. Nobody knows what these things are going to cost.
Well, exactly. It's going to cost more than $6 billion, but they're running right through, the top part of Brampton, and then they're coming down. So, whether it goes through Vaughan or Region Appeal, whatever, what we're concerned with is where it goes through Brampton. And it goes through Brampton, what they call the Heritage Heights, right? So they want it to run through basically a neighborhood, right? Some of it high density, some of it not. But they got 17 intersections that this dedicated truck lane is going to run through. And I don't know if that's a good idea. We're talking transport trucks running through a neighborhood with a dedicated lane. Okay, what happens if a truck conks out? What happens if there's a fire? What happens if there's an accident? Like that lane now becomes what?
I did see those plans as well, Don. It's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen plans like that anywhere, right? It's like trucking lanes in the middle of like a huge boulevard.
Yeah.
Like maybe when there's electric trucks, it would make sense. I don't know, but I'm not in favor of the whole 413. Right.
Well, if you got 17 stops in between that whole area, whether it be, like 12, 15 kilometer stretch. I mean, have you seen a 50,000-pound semi-tractor trailer starting from go and ramping up? By the time it ramps up to 30, 40K, it's already at the next stoplight.
But if they do give us a third hospital, like Mayor was suggesting in Heritage Heights, I'd be okay with a boulevard or a highway or whatever they want going through there, because we do need a third hospital, and maybe we can negotiate.
Well, I wouldn't want a highway running through a hospital area, right?
Well, Humber, there's lots of hospitals right beside highways.
Well, not right beside.
Yeah, what's the one, Humber, the one
Humber
on
West?
Keel and 401? Yeah, that's the 401 is just right there.
Yeah, well, it's not running that close to it, but anyway, it's like, if you're going to have, a dedicated lane, I just don't get it. Not only that, but the province is next it anyway. They said the municipality cannot set speed limits or access.
Okay, Don, I'm gonna have to cut you off.
Oh, okay, again.
I love cutting you off, by the way, but we're 19 minutes in. Time for our last segment.
All right, what's trending?
Hang on, let me take this. Okay, now, what's trending?
Well, what's trending apparently is Toronto is the epicenter of the entire world. It's funny because one of the things that we started to do when we started Brampton Focus, and we're doing now, is to sort of what's going on in Brampton. And it's funny how the Toronto media, Havaya Mighty, which is a rap artist, we covered her about what was it, 2 years ago? I think we
Many
did an
years
interview
ago,
with her, with Nikita. It was at Long and McQuaid, where she works in Brampton, and she is from Brampton. Well, she's releasing her second album, and the Toronto Star mentioned, well, Toronto native Havaya Mighty. No, she's from Brampton, right?
Yeah, they do that to all the famous people from Brampton. So
Yeah.
we
Well,
are Canada's 9th largest city. So
yeah, we're the 9th largest city in what? We're the 3rd largest city in Ontario. We have no TV. We have no radio.
well,
We
I have
don't
a TV. We have no TV station.
a TV station. Have no radio station. We have no print media to basically talk about it. It's not even located in Brampton. So, you know, there's a
It
lot
doesn't
of
come
things.
to my door. So
Yeah,
if it
well,
doesn't
I
come to
don't
my
get it
door, it
either.
doesn't exist.
Right? I don't get it. It gets a lot of money from the city, but I don't get it. You don't get it. What's trending in Brampton? Well, the big, yes, Elisa Carr is from here. The big thing is they were talking about this person from Brampton who was stopped by the police because he had a mattress on top of his car, transporting it home. And I guess 2 kids in the back, they had a bed sheet over top of it, and they were sort of hanging out the window, sort of holding it down so it wouldn't fly away.
Have you never done that, Don? Come on.
Listen, I grew up in Niagara Falls, you know, in the 60s, right?
They didn't have mattresses back
They
then.
didn't have. We actually slept on the ground and the floor. Okay.
Okay, and finally, we're a minute and a half over. Let's show our poll of the week.
Oh, we got a poll. Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a weekly poll. This is my poll. I came up with the poll, so most people aren't gonna like it. But how do you feel about electric vehicles? So I gave everybody 4 options. If you want to see how people voted, you got to go to Twitter and click a button, and you'll see it. So what do you think about electric vehicles, Don?
Well, I don't own one because basically I'm still on my car. I mean, I know you own one, but you got a rebate on yours. But Doug Ford, he doesn't want to give rebates, but because basically all the electric cars are owned by millionaires.
Well, I would not have bought my electric car. I got a Chevy Bolt, 2017 Chevy Bolt, bought it 4 years ago. I think the total grant back then was $13,500 federal and provincial. And I think the total price with everything, extended warranty, tax, everything, was $39,000. It's a small car, but I haven't spent a penny on electricity because I don't charge it at home. Peel Region actually has 2 free fast chargers that I live close by to one. So I've already made back the money on the price difference just by my savings on not having to buy gas for 4 years.
Here's an interesting thing the Quebec government was doing. They were actually giving a rebate for people to buy e-bikes. Now,
was it Quebec or was it one of the maritime provinces?
I thought it was Quebec.
Or...
Anyway, I think it was $500 they were giving back, which is not bad because if you buy an e-bike, they're going to cost you about $2,000. But the technology on there now is pretty good. You can range, I think it's about 35, 45 kilometers on those things. And they're pretty good. I mean, I would consider buying one of them. I've actually looked at them. I have my bike and I bike, but you know, with an e-bike, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. But for a rebate on stuff like that, you know, you're trying to get people out of cars, not into cars, except in Ontario where we want to put more cars in highways. But something like that, to me, is a smart move.
Yeah, an e-bike rebate, I can't think of anybody who wouldn't get behind it. Because it's not going to affect the auto manufacturing, and maybe just rebate it for Canadian e-bikes if there are any. If anybody knows if there's any,
I don't know. I think at one time Magna was thinking about producing them. I don't know if they did, but I know there's Rad Bikes. That's one. There's Mercedes makes one now. Mercedes-Benz makes an e-bike.
Yeah. Okay, so it's probably time to wrap up, Don. We're like 20% over on our time. I'm going to give the last comment to Mario, who's talking about, I guess.
How are logistics supposed to get around with all that growth? Well, one of the things that the Liberal government looked at was actually have a dedicated truck lane on the existing 407, right? So what you do is instead of building a new highway, you take the 407 where it is now, because it's not a massively used 407. I use it every once in a while for business. And if you had a truck lane on the 407, that was why it was built in the first place, to alleviate truck traffic from the 401 and bring it up top, over the top of the city. And then they sold it, and obviously they screwed that up. But you got a lot of, the Star did a great expose about, all the developers along that 413 highway. And just by coincidence, they're all in favor of that 413 highway. So, There's all sorts of things you can do. So,
it'll definitely be a provincial election issue. So whoever
yeah.
wins, if Doug Ford wins, we're going to get it. If he loses, we're not going to get it. I think.
And I think that's going to be a galvanizing thing for topic going forward. Don't forget, we have a provincial election coming up, and then followed by a municipal election next year.
And what I'm surprised about right now is obviously we need a third hospital, and that should be a carrot that the leaders should be dangling to us right now, right? Stephen Del Duca should be saying, if I get elected, Brampton, you're getting a third hospital. Who wouldn't vote for him if he says that?
Well, it should be a full hospital with basically like 700-800 beds or whatever. I mean, the Brampton Civic, when it opened up, it was like $256 million over budget, and then it only opened up with 400 beds where it was supposed to be 600. So, we're way behind in provincial funding. In the LIN department, I think Brampton only gets $850 per resident as compared to about $1,900 per resident province-wide. So, we've been sucking on
way behind.
The back end for many, under different mayors and under different provincial governments. We've all, we've been talking about this for 25, 30 years, right?
I think Mike hit the nail here on the head. They're going to save that for like when they need that boost near the election day.
Well, they're going to need it pretty soon because he's not doing too well in the polls. So
yeah, but the election's months away, Don.
It'll be interesting, but that'll give us a lot to talk about. And if you have any comments or suggestions for topics, send them to me. You have my email there. It's don@citystudio.ca. We'll take a look at them. Obviously, there's going to be more topics coming up, and we want to keep it sort of Brampton centric and a topic in regards to that. So anything that you want to talk about, we don't have any kind of blocking, but we'd like to see some sort of topic with a relevant issue.
Yeah, and all the comments are public, so that's pretty transparent from our perspective, right? If you're putting comments and we're not posting it, it'll look bad on us. So this is 100% transparent. Whatever comments you want, as long as it's not going to disrespect anybody or meet certain guidelines, we'll put it on here. So.
Well, don't forget,
there was a comment on the Facebook page earlier saying, "Are we going to be sharing real news or cherry-picked news?"
Well, it depends. If it's driven by viewers and people that want to talk about different issues that are relevant, absolutely no problem. We could but obviously, like I said, any news organization or media organization, they do the cherry picking a lot of times. They take a look at it, see what's trending. Obviously, if garbage is not picked up on a regular basis, that has nothing to do with it. It's Peel Region covers the garbage. There's certain things. If your snow is not getting cleared at the end of your driveway, sorry, that's not to us, that's not a relevant topic, right? But you're giving me the closeout sign, okay?
Yes. All right.
So for a first show,
sign up at BNow.ca.
Yep.
And we'll see everybody next week, same time, same place.
All right. Hasta la vista.